and welcome back to Jubilee Road. Now before we get into today's video, you might be able to tell by my voice I've been ill over the last few days again, but that's what happens this time of year. We all pick up colds and coughs and whatever else, so well, just get on with it, I suppose. So in today's video I thought we'd add in scenery. Now I hardly ever do these types of videos. The main reason for that is because videoing kind of gets in the way of doing the scenery work, because I gotta be mindful of the position of the camera, whether it's filming, the audio and all that kind of stuff. But if you would like to see more of these videos over 2024 coming up, please put in the comment sections, because I always like to hear from you what kind of videos you prefer. So that would be good to hear from you. So what are we doing today then? Well, it's this area here. Now, the people who follow the channel might have already spotted a change. I have actually added in these. These are the Metcalf kits that you can buy, the sloping retaining walls. I think these look far better than what was there before. Now I have to do that just here, which I'll be using the tops of the walls from the the flat kit to go across there. So that's what we'll be doing, not today. So what I'm actually doing is a bit of ballasting work today. So if I just lift the camera up just here, you can see, if you look in there, it's all cork. Now even with that bit done, you're going to be able to see inside there and see all of that, and that just doesn't look very good. So I need to get in there and ballast that. Now the only problem is that means everything up here needs to be removed. This is a removable board to gain access under there. If you do have a covered section on your layout, you're gonna need to do this, just in case if a train derails under there or over there, or something goes wrong with the track, this all needs to come out. So I will be doing that. These are not attached to this. So let's go and see what materials and tools we need to do this work. Here is then all the stuff that we're going to need in today's video to carry out the bit of work that I'm doing. You might be able to tell in the background or hear it, the heater is on. It got rather cold over the last few hours here in Wales, so I thought, well, let's chuck the heater on. But let's get into this. So, what are we going to need? Well, this is a 3D printed ballasting device. This I bought from MIB Models. It just makes ballasting a lot easier and quicker. Obviously we need some glue, and I've got the World War Scenics ready mixed ballasting glue here. Really good stuff. I've used it on a lot of the layout, and I highly recommend World War Scenics. Really great product and a friendly business as well to deal with. We're going to need a spray bottle. This actually got water in it. We're obviously going to need some ballast. I don't have an awful lot, but that should be enough for what we're doing today. We have a tin of rail match for weathering, and we have one of these. This is a paint pen by, I think he's a Woodland Scenics or something. Can't see the name. Actually, name I think you are. Yeah, Woodland Scenics just says there on the back. This is the rusty rail colour, which you can see there, which I will be painting the sides of the rails. You don't have to use one of these. You could just buy some paint and a paintbrush, but be careful not to paint the tops of the rails, because that's not what you want to do. So first things first then. Oh dear, all this is going to have to come off. This will be fun, won't it? Right, as I said, we have to remove all this. Now I'm having to lean over the shed area. It's not too much, I can reach all of this. So what I'm going to do, this next piece of footage of me taking all this off will be sped up, because, well, it's quite a lot to take off. The vehicles, the buildings and the board itself. So the video would just be far too long and boring. So I'm going to speed this up. Let's get on with this job. Don't like this bit too much, but gotta be done. actually take too long. That only took about probably less than 5 minutes to remove all that stuff. Now if this was a permanent board, that would have been quite a job. So this is what it looks like underneath, and the track work isn't actually very good underneath here. That was kind of done on purpose because you're never going to see it, so it's not 100% straight and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not doing that today. You can see the main power wires into the layout just here. So this is what we're going to be doing, is continuing the ballast up until sort of there, so as you look into the tunnel. Now there is a gap there without any sleepers. Now you can see that from that side. I'm going to sort that out as well in today's video, get this ballasted to make it look a lot better. Let's just replace those sleepers just there then. What I'm just going to do is just get rid of some of the ballast that's there now along that edge, so the sleepers will go underneath the track. Hopefully I'll be able to get them under there. I should. I've cut off a piece of these. This will need 3 in there. I have sanded down the chairs on there so they fit underneath the track. This was from a piece of older track that I did have. Just force them under there and just line them up. It doesn't have to be perfect because you won't be seeing these too well from there, but it's always nice just to get to look a little bit more sort of realistic. There we go. You probably can't tell which ones are actually put in, but it's these 3 just here. Just looks so much neater and more realistic now they are done. So time for some ballasting. So what you're gonna do first then with one of these ballasting sort of pliers or whatever you want to call them is put them on the track first. This one has grooves built in to sit over the track. Do not try and fill this before you put it on the track, because the ballast is going to go everywhere but the track. And then you could use a spoon to fill it or anything like that. This one did come with a special filler, but I've gone and lost it. And do not overfill these. It's better to underfill it rather than overfill it. Otherwise you'll end up with too much ballast when you get to the end of what you are trying to do. If we just have a look in there, how much is in there? Yeah, a little bit more, but not too much. Right, that should do for now. I hope the angle is okay with this. As I said, this is why I don't do these videos very often. All I gotta do is drag it that way to put the ballast down. So let's go. And as you can see, it leaves a proper uniform ballast shoulder across there. It will eventually run out, and there we go. That ballaster is now empty, and as you can see, that's what it's done. You can see how neat and tidy it actually does the ballast. Yes, you're still going to need to do a little bit of brushwork in between the sleepers here to remove ballast off the sleepers, but just a little tip when you are ballasting, a lot of people try and get every single tiny piece of ballast off every single sleeper. To me, that is actually not that realistic. Especially here in South Wales, a lot of the sleepers actually got ballast on them, and in some cases are completely covered. So if you still left with some ballast on your sleepers, that doesn't really matter too much. So let's get on with continuing this, and yeah, looking quite good already. Here we go then. All I'm going to do is start brushing the ballast down a little bit. This will just make it look that bit neater. You can use a much smaller paintbrush, it's probably a good idea, but this one was to hand, and you just very, very gently just brush the ballast down. Not too hard pressing on the brush, because you'll lift the ballast from in between the sleepers, and you just keep going until you're happy with how the ballast is looking. As I said, if you do have some ballast left on the sleepers, it doesn't really matter, but I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of how to do ballasting. It's looking pretty good, and make sure you do not have any ballast attached to the rails, or you could end up with derailments and or anything like that, and that's not what you want, really. So that line is pretty much done here. I'm going to do the other 2 off camera, and then we'll come back and see how that is looking, but I'm rather happy with that. here we go then. All I'm just going to do is run a coach over. You'll hear if there are any ballasting issues. I don't think there is. No, that line is all good. So if I just move the coach onto this. Hear that? Did you hear that then? There was a little bit just there that I need to redo. It's obviously a good idea really to do this before you glue it. You can do it the other way around, but be a little more awkward. Right, let's try that. Let's bring the coach back across, and there we go. That is all good. And then the last line to check is this inner one just here, which is the sharpest out of them all. Yeah, let me just change that point a little bit. Yes, and that is all done. So then, let's get on with the gluing of the ballast is the next part to do. Right, what I'm going to do is sort of wet the area down with the spray bottle that I showed you earlier, just a little bit of water. I don't have to do this, but I do it just so the ballast doesn't move when you're putting the glue solution on. Obviously, before you do this, make sure your track power is always off, because that's not what you want. Just give it a little bit of a spray. As I said, yeah, you don't have to do this. It's making a bit of a strange noise, this thing, isn't it? Very, very unhappy about it. But give it all the area that I want to do. A little bit here as well, because that ballast is needing some gluing there. That's looking all quite nice. This helps the glue to go all the way through the ballast as well, although the glue solution does have water already in it. That should be enough there. So then, we got my Woodland Scenics glue just here. Now yes, you could use a spray bottle to put it on, but all I've done is cut a tiny hole in the top to do the job. Now I'm only going to show you a quick little bit of this doing it, and then do the rest on camera, because you know how to do. So you just very carefully and just squeeze it very gently, and as it comes out it will fill the area that you are gluing. And obviously you need to do it down the sides of the rails as well. That's looking already much nicer. And I'm going to go down this side of the rail as well. You can overdo it with the glue sometimes, but it's always... So as you can see, that is how you use this stuff. This is pre-mixed, so you don't have to mess about with it. So what I'm going to do is do the rest of it and come back when I've done that. Well, there we go. This is all dried off now, and I have cleaned all the track as well. So what I'm going to do now, using my paint pen just here, I'm going to paint the sides of the rails just to make them look, well, a little bit more sort of realistic. So all you got to do is drag the pen down the side of the rails as you go. If you do get it on the top, that doesn't matter so much, because you can just then clean it off afterwards. It doesn't really matter. So we just do that. I'm not going to go too far because you can't see too far in to that. We'll do it on that side of the rail and this side. You know, it just gives a little bit of detail really. Just clean that off. Dab it there to get a bit more paint on the end there itself, and already you can see in the camera lens there it's already looking much better, as you can see. So we'll carry on with this line just here and just run it down the sides of the rails. You don't need to do too much, because if you put too much paint on it, it won't look quite right. There we go. We'll just, you know, if you can get it on the rail chairs as well, because they obviously be a similar colour, won't they, to the rails themselves. You can see the colour in front of you already, how much better that is. This is the final thing I'm going to do today, is be using this rail match. This one is Sleeper Grime. Now, I'm not massively into weathering very detailing. I just like to use this. It gives it a nice covering of grime, and you do want to paint the sides of the rails first rather than using this first. Now obviously these videos are not telling you exactly how it's done. This is the way I do it. So you know, there's loads of ways of doing it, so I'm just going to spray lightly like this over there to get the sort of what was I going to say? Sort of desired, that's the word I was looking for, desired effect. So here we go. You don't want it too much. A bit over there as well. You can see it starting to blend in now. Going a bit. You can see that darkening in colour now. This will blend in nicely to what's already there. Right, now that is done, the last thing to do now is obviously to clean the rail heads themselves, and then that's pretty much today done. And there we go, that's that job done for today's video. As you can see, the new ballast blends in very well for what was originally here. Yes, you can still see the cork there, but this wall I will be continuing underneath there, so that will look much better. There is a join in the board here which I'll be using grasses and sort of greenery stuff on. Also here, this wall will be weathered with some bushes growing up it, and then obviously I've got to do this bit across here as well. But I think that looks so much better. You can see the ballast going in there, and there's a few different colours and dirt around there, and I've just put all this back in. You'd never know I took that out. We got to do a bit of work over there. That looks a bit nasty. But thank you very much for watching. Please let me know, would you like more of these style videos, because obviously there's still an awful lot to do here at Jubilee Road. So I'll be back very soon here at Jubilee Road with loads more railway content for you. Bye everyone.